Wow, look, it's a Q&A video. Years ago, I already made one of these, because apparently I thought it'd be a really cool and interesting way to celebrate a milestone by finding an excuse to overshare. The result of that was this nearly 20-minute long video, with minimal editing, unfunny jokes, and this goddamn irrelevant gameplay in the background. So, for all intents and purposes, this original video no longer exists. It's been replaced by this one, which is surely going to be a lot better. So let's get right into it. Time to answer questions and potentially reveal things about myself that I probably shouldn't say online. How did I first find out about Don't Starve? For this question, let's rewind all the way back to when I think I was in primary school, either in 2013 or shortly before that. One of my friends mentioned it to me in a conversation, and I don't think I really took notice of it, but later on, probably in about 2015 or so, I saw the game on Steam and thought, hey, I remember that. Bought it, had a blast, had a few years, and here we are today. How long did it take me to survive a full year? I don't have a definitive answer for this, but in short, it would have been a long time. I have plenty of memories of dying a lot, getting frustrated at dying, and generally just doing stupid things, like trying to cook food in a crockpot. Like not cook meals, just turn raw meat into grilled steaks. Apparently I was too dumb to know how a campfire works. I never actually ended up surviving a full year until the Shipwreck DLC came out. I remember being absolutely enthralled by the new style, tone, characters and world, enough so that I finally managed to live through all 4 tropical seasons as Walani. And I think I still have that world floating around somewhere today. To this day, I don't think I've ever actually survived a full year in base game ROG, only in DST, and Hamlet, I guess if you want to count that too. Why did I start to make YouTube videos? I wish I knew. Years and years ago, I created this channel as a means to create god-awful videos and generally just be a shitposter. In school, I was a little shit and barely paid attention during certain years, and would instead spend my time making this garbage. As despicable as these videos are, I guess they did teach me the fundamentals of video production. You can still view some videos from this era on my channel, but a fair few of them are now privated because they are so excruciatingly embarrassing that if they were ever seen by the public, I'm fairly certain I would melt into a puddle of some sort. Yeah, they're actually that bad. After probably too much of this tomfoolery, I eventually decided to make a video that was at least somewhat meaningful, in the form of complete character guide. The first video of mine with the intent of being more than just a cheap laugh amongst friends. And the rest is history. Over the years, my videos have become progressively less garbage until today, where they are mediocre at best. What is my favorite character and favorite boss from Don't Starve? Unsurprisingly, this is one of the most common questions I've received. In the old terrible Q&A video, which you should absolutely not go and watch, and should in fact disregard completely, I said that Maxwell was my favorite character. Today, however, it is still Maxwell. I mean, how could it not be? This guy has received so much story and was a fantastic villain in the first game. Sadly, he hasn't recently received much love story-wise. He's just kind of there, I guess. Oh well. In terms of gameplay, before any of the character reworks were a thing, I would have said Maxwell 2. At the moment, it's definitely Wanda, but I'm secretly hoping that Maxwell's rework is really cool so he can reclaim that spot. My favorite boss is Klaus, because haha, evil Santa go burr, and it's also really fun and rewarding to play, not to mention actually doable solo. What other games do I enjoy? I don't really have favorites when it comes to games, or anything. It's hard for me to pick one singular thing that's the crowning champion in a certain category, but if I had to pick, it would be either Subnautica, nearly any Valve game, Divinity Original Sin 2, Fez, or Minecraft, although admittedly a lot of these are up there because of nostalgia. Some games that I've been enjoying a lot recently are Deep Rock Galactic, RimWorld, Barrow Trauma, Risk of Rain 2, and probably a couple others that I've forgotten about. I won't go over them one by one, but they are all worth checking out, notably Barrow Trauma, which is sorely underrated. In terms of TV shows, I don't really watch that many, but I might as well say Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, and I'm sure that I am definitely the very first person to say that to you. What is my favorite food? That's a big one. Well, probably gnocchi, or pho, or laksa, or sausage curry, or seafood, or oh god, it changes so often. Why am I so indecisive? Help. What is my favorite pie flavor? Steak and pepper is always one that I get from a bakery, but I had a scallop pie recently, and it was weirdly good. I've only had one of those, so I like to have more before I say it's my favorite, but I was not expecting it to be that good. I mean, it's shellfish stuffed into a pie. It sounds disgusting, but it was actually really tasty. Do I like honey meat? Yes. I had some recently for the first time and it was really good. I've added it to my list of don't starve dishes that I haven't eaten in real life and now have. What am I looking for in regards to the upcoming reworks? For WX, I mostly just hope that the funny robot becomes more fun to play. Seriously, they are so boring at the moment. Literally, you just go to the ruins, get a bunch of gears, and then you've already run out of things to do on like day 10. For Maxwell, it'd be great to get some expansion upon his magic abilities, and to hopefully make his combat-oriented puppets not awful. Wolfgang's trailer seemed to hint at him having support abilities able to be cast on teammates, which would be pretty cool and honestly would make him kind of unique. As for Wickerbottom, I don't know, I don't really play her that much. Finally, I don't think Wilson should be changed much, if at all. It's always good for a game with this many characters to have a default or vanilla option, just to make sure the rest of the characters are grounded, and so new players have a character to choose who won't be too overwhelming. What sort of music do I listen to? When I'm playing games, I generally don't listen to my own music because music is a significant contributor to a game's aesthetics, and I prefer not to intrude upon that personally. If I'm getting tired of a game so much so that I feel like putting on my own music in the background, then, let's be honest, it's probably time for me to play a different game. If you want to judge the type of music that I like to listen to, check out my Bandcamp page, I guess, although this isn't exactly all-inclusive, it's only weird indie stuff on there. Outside of that, I'm also listening to Talking Heads and Daft Punk at the moment, but this will probably change within the next few months as it usually does. Will I ever expand my channel to cover things other than Don't Starve? This is a very good question, and in short, I really want to. Don't Starve is not a bad game by any means, but I'm starting to get tired of constantly thinking about it. This isn't a fault of the game, it's just that I've been playing it and making videos about it for too long, probably. I'm not about to completely jump ship, obviously that would be a terrible idea. It would be the equivalent of YouTube suicide, because if the general audience of my channel doesn't choose to watch videos I put up, YouTube will recommend them to about no one. It would be nice to trickle in some non-Don't Starve content. I've got plenty of ideas as for potential videos, but it's definitely a bit of a risk that I'm oftentimes too afraid to take, if that makes sense. A couple years ago I made a video about the soundtrack of Minecraft, and it would definitely be fun to be able to discuss various works of art in a more mature way like this, but not many people are actually interested in stuff like that, so we'll have to see. This is kind of why I've been making videos recently that are a bit more experimental, I guess, like the character stereotypes and boss tournament. People seem to really like those, which is a good sign and definitely a bit of a proof of concept for me. In short, I would like to expand away from Don't Starve, but sadly, insert Susan Wojcicki joke here. Do I think Don't Starve is more enjoyable before or after you know everything about it? I'm definitely going to say before, for the most part. Originally, Don't Starve was designed around you repeatedly dying in order to figure out how to not die, in short. This still holds up for solo Don't Starve and the 3 DLCs, although it will eventually reach a point where dying becomes frustrating and simply knowing everything will make the game more enjoyable, as you're actually able to achieve your goals. In DST, I think this period of learning through failure is much, much shorter, simply because how much of the game's content requires surviving for a long time. Even as someone who usually has no trouble surviving, you just have to play the game for so long just to access the new content, which is honestly really annoying and a bit of a shame. What video am I the most proud of? Probably Minecraft video or the funny boss tournament, or character stereotypes. What do I think about my audience? Considering I can upload a trash video about trash and still have the dislike ratio be above 50%, you must be pretty chill. It's always nice to upload a video with some probably really bad takes and still have the reception be generally positive, so I really can't complain too much. Thanks for being awesome. How do I make content about DST? This is probably decent advice for more or less anything, not just DST, but I usually begin by writing down as many ideas as I can think of onto paper. From this bunch, the best of the best are then cherry-picked. This allows me to be thorough and make sure I don't forget any good ideas. Any idea is good for this process, possible titles, thoughts on the subject matter or message of the video, etc. I also occasionally write down things like very rough sketches for how the thumbnail might look, or a certain part of the video, or whatever. From then on, once I've selected an idea I like, it's the usual video stuff.
Writing the scripts, recording audio, gathering relevant footage, editing, making the thumbnail, search engine optimization, blah blah.
What do I do outside of YouTube? Aside from wasting time doing nothing, I'm a student studying design. I'm majoring in motion design and UI UX, or alternatively, video go burr and phone app go beep boop. I also occasionally draw, although I'm terrible at it. Aside from that, I like to spend my time painting overpriced plastic crack. My mini war guys of choice are the evil space Egyptians, the non-robot ones. This is my army at the moment, and as you can see, I am extremely slow at painting. I'm trying to get Magnus painted by the end of this summer, but we'll see how that goes. Do I have any pets? Yes, dog and dog. Will there ever be channel memberships? Most likely not, for a few reasons. In my eyes, I see memberships or a Patreon as a sort of contingency plan in case YouTube decides to completely nuke my channel, which will leave me without that income. YouTube memberships wouldn't really synergize with that mentality, as they are part of YouTube and would therefore also get nuked, which only leaves Patreon as a possibility there, in my mind at least. But making a Patreon would feel incredibly selfish for a number of reasons, namely that I don't deserve people's money, and unless I could make some really good rewards, it wouldn't feel like a just exchange. And secondly, the year 2022 is not the greatest time to be asking people for money, for obvious reasons. I've had some vague fantasies in my mind of expanding the medium in which my videos are created. Instead of just using character stills atop found footage, it could be really cool to make a TV head costume in real life, and to use that in combination with a green screen and some minor props to make a totally new video style. Because doing that would be quite expensive when compared to my usual video style, it would somewhat justify crowdfunding. I don't know. Short answer, no. Now it's time for a quick fire round. How about some privacy violating questions about me? How tall am I? Above average, below what people consider to be average. What is my favorite instrument to play or listen to? I used to play violin, but it made my back sore and I was shit, so I stopped. Cello is the best string to listen to though, don't at me. Except do, because I can rant about how it's the best instrument in the string family. Am I gay? Only 50%. The conversion therapy only half worked, and now I'm stuck somewhere in the middle, indecisive as usual. How gamer am I? Not very. I usually find myself blundering around and having a terrible game sense. Why do people watch my videos that give advice and criticisms on video games? Am I satisfied with my channel's performance? I can't really not be. Ultimately, the amount of effort I put into my videos doesn't correlate with how well they'll perform. I will say that sometimes it is quite demotivating when a video barely gets recommended to anyone, which still sometimes happens. I still have a long way to go when it comes to optimizing my SEO and making good thumbnails, which are much more important than the content of the video when it comes to content doing the rounds in people's recommendations. And there's also the obvious fact that my upload schedule is not fast enough for me to easily grow a viewing. I'm just too slow at everything and easily get distracted all the time. So in short, to me, it's obvious why my videos are not more popular than they are. I am definitely satisfied with how far I've gotten, and I don't see a reason to not continue and try and grow more in numbers, but also grow in terms of improving my videos. Do I still like and do I still play Single Player Don't Starve? Yes, I love solo, especially Shipwrecked and Hamlet. They are some of the best parts of Don't Starve, if you ask me, despite how unfinished they can be, especially Hamlet. My god, that game is a mess, but it's a beautiful mess. I still play them every now and then. Probably not as much as I should, actually, honestly. What are my thoughts on the current state of DST? DST is doing fine. The only negative things I have to say about it are ultimately small nitpicks when it comes to the game's overall livelihood in the modern gaming scene. This is much different from the Forge and Gorge days when there was no base game content being made. Now that we actually have regular updates coming out, there's not that much to complain about. Regarding DST's gameplay loop, I think it still somewhat holds up, but as I said earlier, me no likey having to play for 10 hours just to get to new content. How have I been and what do I have planned for 2022? I've been okay these holidays, trying to keep busy and not fall into a spiral of unproductiveness. Regarding next year, my plans are basically to survive my second year of uni. Everything's supposed to be on campus again, so unless there's another COVID outbreak, which would not be surprising at this rate, that should be good. Other than that, I'm going to try and keep uploading videos. Once a month roughly is my very loosely self-enforced goal at the moment just because of uni. Where did I think up my TV head character, and where did the name Freddo Films come from? Fun fact, this was easily the most asked question for this Q&A, even beating out people asking what my favorite character was, which is actually impressive, so there's that. The inspiration for my dumbass TV head was the fact that I can do cool editing tricks like this! And also that it's easy to draw, much easier than a human head at least. That, and it also tied neatly into the VCR/80s theme that was already present in my channel's branding and editing. That's it. There's no backstory, that's just the whole thing. The name Freddo Films is a derivative of my Steam name, Netto Freddo, which is a combination of a butchered pronunciation of my name in Japanese and the chocolate bar, or legally speaking, the Italian word for cold. At first my channel used to be themed around coldness because of this, but I eventually settled for a more generic theme, before finally how the channel looks today, although I do want to update this at some point. It's a bit old, it looks a bit bad. Why am I so damn negative? I don't know, man. Why am I so negative? Why does it feel like I never have anything positive to say? What if I'm like this my entire life? You know, what if nothing changes? What if I spend my whole life acting out towards everyone around me and doling out pointless criticisms? What if I separate myself from everyone I know and love just because I can't stop being negative? What happens then? Will I be doomed to make stupid YouTube videos from the privacy of my own room, free from the gaze or the thoughts of any other human beings? Will I ever be satisfied with myself? Or will I simply be doomed to live in a cycle of self-fulfilling hatred? Thanks for watching this hopefully not wretchedly awful Q&A video. Thanks to everyone who submitted questions, and apologies if I wasn't able to get to yours. This shit was fun to make, and I hope it was fun to watch too. If you have any more questions, post them in the comments and I might give them a respond. See you guys next time. My life is so boring. If only I had some sexy and highly wearable YouTuber merchandise to spice up my quality of life. Wow, would you look at that? Is that some sexy and highly wearable apparel and drinkware? Wow, my life quality is immediately improved. Just look at that. Oh my goodness. Just take in those luxurious all-over print designs, that bold and simple typography, all the never-before-seen custom artwork. I think I'm gonna splurge!